Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Matt.
Dan.
Kayla.
I'm Seth.
Hey, thank you for joining us another week, another movie. We are here. It was my pick. I'm very excited. We get to talk about Halloween H20. It was part 7 in the Halloween series. But before we get to yes, part 7. Before we get to all of that, uh, as tradition, we start off with me asking, "How are you guys? How have you been? How was your week?"
Been good.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
No,
Very
it's
cool.
fantastic.
What? Oh,
Nothing.
yeah. Did anybody watch anything other than Halloween
Oh yeah.
this week?
Oh yeah. Well, I personally watched two things. One was the Muppets version of Haunted Mansion with my children, and then also
With his
Halloween
children.
3, Season of the Witch.
Did your homework. Good job.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do a short? What did you think about Halloween 3? Since we talked about it last week.
You know what? You get geared up, and again, I think you're right. You get geared up in like the Halloween mindset of like Michael Myers, and honestly, out of all the films, probably one of the bigger disappointments for me. I think that it took a while to build up to where it was going. The plot wasn't 100%. Like, maybe I just wasn't quick enough to catch it. But it was basically a guy ends up going missing. A lady ends up looking for her father. He dies earlier in the film. Doctor gets involved. They start tracking it down, and there's this Shamrock company that ends up stealing a space rock from Stonehenge, and they basically want to, I don't know, just kill everybody, which to me didn't make a lot of sense. Like, why they wanted to sacrifice these people that are buying their products. Like, are they not buying enough? Did you finally reach the end of that corporate greed ladder where it's like, okay, man, I just want robots to run the world? Like, are we, like, gearing up for a Terminator movie? Like, what's going on? And, I mean, there are androids. There's one scene where literally the lady and him are in the hotel room. They check out, and he's like, "Well, do you want me to sleep on the couch?" And then she turns to him like, and this is when she's in the middle of looking for her father, and what I would say would be like a stressful kind of situation. Like, where do you want to sleep? And then they end up doing it. And in the end, like ultimately, she gets taken, turned into a robot. Yeah, I don't know. And then man, he had a lot of trouble with her hand. Like, her hand just would not die. Like, first it gets ripped off in the car door, then it's like coming at him, like somehow still has the strength to go after him. The body gets up like 3 times. Like, I don't know. Like, as far as Halloween movies go, is not my favorite. I can kind of see something there. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 10. And mostly more for when you get geared up for a Halloween movie, you're kind of geared up for a slasher. And I know this was different. This was supposed to be part of an anthology where the stories are going to be different. I'm glad that they went back to the original formula with Michael Myers. This one just didn't really do it for me, unfortunately.
Okay, that's fair. I respect your opinion. I also had homework. I watched California. I watched a lot of things, but we'll get to that in a second. I watched California for Dan, and because of last week, I was shamed for not liking Brad Pitt. So said, why not watch California? Because I hadn't seen it. It was something I wanted to see, just hadn't gotten around to it. David Duchovny and Juliette Lewis, and of course Brad Pitt. I gotta say, I'm not going to give a full synopsis like you just did of Halloween, but I mean, I was like that was not the movie we're reviewing today, kids. But thank you anyway, Dan. But I gotta say, California, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I didn't think it was great by any means, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. and that's even with me wanting to see it. And I enjoyed Brad Pitt. I enjoyed that horrible accent, Southern cowboy, redneck, whatever it is that he was trying to do all at once. It worked for me because probably it was so far from what I've seen him do 19 other times. So I enjoyed it. I'd probably give California. California. I'm torn between 6 and 7, just to be nice and give it to you. I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Somewhat.
Yeah. There was some things I could pick at, but again, we're not here to talk about that. I just to run down the list really quick. I feel like I was telling you guys off air before we started recording. I feel like this is gonna be a long episode. I'm gonna try to keep it short. There's just so much to talk about. It's been a big week. This week alone, since last time we spoke, I have been to the movie theater twice. I saw Venom 2, and I saw No Time to Die, the 007 movie. And then I also watched 2 movies on Netflix. The Guilty, with the new movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. And then I watched Thunder Force. It's a little older, but with
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy. Yeah, that was funny. That was funnier than I thought it was going to be. The Guilty was okay. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. Venom 2, I actually fell asleep during. I did not like Venom 2 at all, and I'm a fan of Venom 1. Venom 1, I loved it. I would probably give Venom 1 a 7 or 8 out of 10. Venom 2, Steph, did I tell you 5? I think I went 5.
Yeah, it was 5.
5 out of 10 for Venom 2 for me. Didn't do it for me. It just wasn't needed. I keep going back to Kayla's line that one week. The movie didn't need to be made. It just didn't need to be made. But of course, it set up the end scene, set up something else without spoiling. Which brings me to No Time to Die. I was very excited about this. I could do a show just on this movie, but Dan and Kayla, you have not seen James Bond, right? So that means I have to be very careful what I say, because not only would I spoil it for our audience, I'd be spoiling it for you guys. Seth, you saw it. What did you think? Spoiler free.
10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal.
You asked me what I thought right after I had just gotten out, like literally 5 minutes after I got into the theater. And I said I don't have the words for it yet, because I was emotionally drained from it. But I would say that it was a great way to end Daniel Craig's run. And I would say for me, and I've been saying this ever since they announced that it was Craig's last movie, that I'm probably done with Bond. I mean, I don't want to say for sure, but I really feel like I don't need any more. Like, Daniel Craig blew me and everyone else away when he came in and took over from Pierce Brosnan. And I think he not only raised the bar so high that he's in that Sean Connery conversation, but I think he could be debatable that he even surpassed that, in my opinion, and some others. But I think it was a sad, but well, it was a sad because it was his finale. So it was sad, but it was a good way to end it. And I left the theater feeling even more content in my choice, that unless they pick someone really good to be the next James Bond, I probably won't watch it. Like, I think this ends it for me, and it was a good ending for the whole. It kind of wraps up the whole series, like all 25 of them. Like, it was a good end and I don't think that there's any more needed. Would you agree, Seth?
Well, I'm still new as a James Bond fan, but I do agree. Like, I'm perfectly content with not seeing another James Bond movie. And
it's not because they were bad. It was just
No,
because it was just so good.
It's a perfect ending, I thought.
Yeah, and I never said I wouldn't give it a 10, but I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
See, I was gonna do a 9, but that whole third act was just it was insane.
It was really
So
really
that
good.
brought me up to a 10. So
that third act is what sold me on the whole movie.
I guess we know what we're watching this weekend, huh?
No, I think I want to see Venom over James Bond.
Really?
First.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
No,
And
you don't.
I
like
do
Venom 2 a lot.
because for me, James Bond movies are like too much to watch in a theater. Too much.
It was almost 3 hours. It was a few
Well,
minutes.
see, that's like the only thing. It's a long time for me to sit in a theater and go see. But
It doesn't feel like 3
plus,
hours.
I'd rather enjoy Daniel Craig in the comfort of my own home.
I'm not going
All
to
right.
question that. So, Dan, Kayla, did you watch anything else? We kind
of. We watched The Guilty too.
Oh.
Or as well. We watched it as well.
What did you think?
What else?
Oh no, we've been catching up on Squid Game on Netflix recently.
And Midnight Mass. We've been catching up a lot of TV shows. But
no, I kind of. Go ahead.
Hold on just a second. Since he did that like hour-long speech about Halloween 3, I wanted to say something about Halloween 3.
Okay.
It is quite possibly the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God.
I don't know how you like it, Matt. It is awful. It's the worst movie I think I've seen out of this whole movie club. It was worse than Mad Max. I would rather watch Mad Max than that movie. It was so dumb. It was so dumb. I don't understand. Like we watched it in 2 parts. Usually, like I said before, if we don't like a movie, we watch it in 2 parts. Oh my God, it was awful. So dumb. It was seriously so dumb. But there was one thing I was impressed with, that it came out in 1982, but there was like one scene where they did something with the robots or whatever, and I was like, dang, I can't believe they could do that on film in 1982. Other than that, it was really dumb. I wanted to get out that. Like, I wanted to say that before he went on his little hour-long thing about it. Ugh. I hate that movie.
Wow.
So, yeah, The Guilty. Yeah, I'll just maybe like 6 out of 10 on The Guilty. The thing, like, it was filmed in one location. I thought that was kind of cool because that doesn't happen a lot. But that's it. That's it. I'm done.
about like 40 minutes in, I'm like, this movie is not going to leave this room, is it? And a buddy of mine from Virginia came here this weekend and stayed with me, and he and I watched it together. And about an hour, I think it was like a 2-hour movie, I think, and about like an hour and a half in, he's like, turn this off. This is dumb. And I was like, dude, there's like 30 minutes left. I can't turn it off now. Like, yes, if you told me a half hour ago to turn it off, I gladly would have. But no, I don't think it was dumb. I think it was, like you said, it just wasn't as good as the potential. The potential was there for it to be really good, and it just didn't live up. I agree with the 6 out of 10. Seth
is frozen.
Are you frozen already? We haven't even gotten to the news yet. Oh no.
So one cool thing to segue into the news, heard that from somebody that Daniel Craig might actually be considered in the MCU as a villain now that he's done with 2 Knives Out and
Knives Out 2.
I'm sorry, Knives Out 2. My mistake.
2 Knives Out.
They could have called it that. That would have been a good name for a sequel.
Oh my God, that was too much.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is too
Seth,
funny.
are you back?
I guess so.
Oh.
I never left.
There you are. Okay. No, you were frozen for like a solid 3 minutes. You were just kind of like this.
Yeah.
I wasn't frozen. I was just doing that.
Yeah. Did you hear, Dan, about Two Knives Out?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah, next year the sequel, Three Knives Out's gonna come out.
Then when we're old and gray, we're gonna have like 75 Knives Out.
Yes. I would buy Daniel Craig as a MCU villain. I would get behind that.
Me too.
Now, I was like, where were we going with that? But we were segueing into the news because Seth was frozen. So Seth, you brought us the news. What do you got for us?
A lot this week. It's been kind of crazy.
Your internet, I hope, holds up.
It's not. Let's just be real. We got a WandaVision spinoff. I don't know anything about it. Matt told me, and it's happening.
It's Agatha all along. They've released the title of it. Not only is it about Agatha, they released the title of it's going to be Agatha all along, like in the song in the show WandaVision. They did a little song. Okay, I guess you guys aren't as excited about this as I am. Anyway, continue.
Cillian Murphy is going to be starring in the new Christopher Nolan movie, which is about the father of the atom bomb, I believe. Then I'm going to butcher his name. Denis Villeneuve, the Dune director, who also did Prisoners and Blade Runner 2049 and Sicario, stuff like that. He has stated he would love to do a Bond movie, like direct it. So we'll see if that ever happens. I mean, directors say they want to do certain movies all the time, but then there's a new Scream coming out in January. The trailer dropped today, and
yes, did you guys watch the trailer? You're killing me. As we were recording this, again, boys and girls, you're watching this on Sunday. We're recording this on Tuesday. So as you're watching this, the Scream trailer dropped today, and I am hyped. I am pumped. This is the 5th Scream movie, and it's kind of like a reboot. They're kind of doing the Halloween thing where they're bringing back original actors, but not necessarily ignoring the other sequels, but just kind of rebooting and hoping to restart the franchise. So it looks really good.
Yeah, I will say it does look pretty good. I watched Scream 1 for the first time the other night and wasn't blown away. Probably like 3 out of 5. Thought it was okay.
3 out of 5. Okay. I was like, what?
No, I'm not gonna pull a Kayla on you. I don't know. Wasn't that blown away by it. But this new one, it looks, fairly good. I might watch it. I might not. Then sort of a rumor, but it's a pretty. It's got a lot of weight to it. Bill Murray may be in the new Ant-Man movie. Give me all of that. Give me all of that. Love me some Bill Murray. Then a little TV show news. We got That 70s Show sequel called That 90s Show is coming to Netflix at some point. There's a new Transformers movie coming out, and they just showed pictures of the Autobots and the Terrorcons. It's something. I don't know. Take your kids to go see that. Then Will Poulter, he's been cast as Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. If you don't recognize that name, he's the nerdy kid from We're the Millers.
Yes.
He's finally getting paid.
He was supposed to be it. He was cast and even I think did some screen tests and got in makeup for it, the remake from a few years back. And then the directors changed like right before shooting started, and the new director brought in a different actor.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so now you know.
I could kind of see that, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, it was like a done deal, and then production changed, and I don't remember the exact reason behind it, but the director that was doing it left the production, and the new director, who's also now directing the Flash movie we've been talking about, came in and changed a couple things up, and one of the things was he replaced the Pennywise actor.
Next up is there's a new Home Alone movie coming out, and the trailer dropped today, like maybe an hour ago. Check it out for yourself, but I'm not a fan.
It looks like
look...
the biggest piece of garbage you could ever watch in your life. But I will give it this. It does show, the trailer shows Buzz, you know, Home Alone from Home Alone 1 and 2, Buzz, the big brother, the bully. He's all grown up and is a cop. And shows him, and it shows his name badge, McAllister. So not only is the actor in it, but he's playing Buzz, who's evidently a cop now. But other than that, the movie looks absolute trash. And I stopped watching after 3.
And I kind of touched on this earlier, but new Scream trailer came out today as of Tuesday, 10/12/21. And if you're a fan of Scream or horror movies, go check out that trailer. It actually was pretty good. And that wraps up the news for this week.
Give it up for Seth, everybody. He gave us the news, and I only interrupted like once or twice.
Yeah, but he didn't freeze at all. So
he didn't freeze. That's 3 weeks in a row. Holy crap! We might not have to buy you a new router after all.
It was Wyatt
all
along.
Actually,
it was Wyatt all
along. News. Breaking news.
Oh.
My mom has purchased a really fancy schmancy hotspot for all of us for Christmas. So who knows?
Oh, that's nice.
Maybe I'll have better internet come December. I don't know.
Shout out to Seth's mom. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Good
I know
job,
she watches
Seth's
the show. So
who also has good taste in paint colors.
Which you never replied to my text, but okay.
Way to go. Way to go, Seth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to both of Seth's shout out to both of Seth's parents, who I know watch the show regularly. So thank you for that, because you're one of few, or two of few. You're two of few who do.
They're practically one person at this point. They've been married for like 23 years, so they are one.
So, are we ready to jump in? I think we're like 20 minutes into this thing already, and we haven't even talked about Halloween H20.
30 minutes in.
All right.
Yes, you're ready.
It was my pick, so of course I get to go first, and I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, but I can't make any guarantees. Dan, did you happen to get stats on this?
No, I wanted to let you loose on this, Matt, because I figured you probably had a lot more information on this title than I did. Was I incorrect?
You're incorrect, because I did not come prepared for stats. But I can tell you,
I have some facts.
You have stats?
I don't have stats. I have some facts for you to fill the time.
Well, it's probably about what I was about to say.
Okay.
About how I came about?
Let the genius talk.
Genius. So, I apologize at the start of this because I don't know how long this is going to go. I'm going to try to keep it short. Where do I want to start? So this movie, because we're not really doing stats, came about, and I think I might have mentioned it last week. I don't remember if it was on air or off air, but because they did the original Halloween in 1978. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill made the original movie, and of course Jamie Lee Curtis was the leading actress. She was unknown. It was her first film, and the story goes from Jamie Lee herself. She was drinking tea or something one day and happened to notice that the following year, this was in 97, that the following year was going to be the 20th anniversary of the original movie's release. So she called up John Carpenter and Deborah Hill and said, hey, we should do another movie. And now keep in mind, they had kept going with the Halloween sequels well after John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis and Deborah Hill left. They hadn't really been, John Carpenter's, I think, last involvement was the infamous Halloween 3 that we've now butchered. And Jamie Lee's last was Halloween 2 in 1981. So, and her reason for leaving, as she puts it, it wasn't that she hated the character. She just didn't, she wanted to move on and not be typecast as like a scream queen. She wanted to do other things with her career, which she had done. And at this point in 1997, she was ready to jump back into that Laurie Strode character that we all hopefully know and love. I'm scared about the reviews we're going to be getting here too shortly. So some things fell apart. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill didn't end up coming back to do this, but Jamie Lee did. And we got the movie that we got. The very first horror movie I ever watched was not Halloween. It was A Nightmare on Elm Street. I was probably 12-ish years old. I don't remember watching a horror movie before that, or at least not an R-rated horror movie. And I remember I rented A Nightmare on Elm Street from the Blockbuster that I eventually would go on to work at. And what are these looks that you keep giving? You got yourself muted. I can't hear you. Okay, I guess I'm not meant to hear you. So I rented the movie from Blockbuster. I watched it, and I watched it at my dad's house. To give it a little more backstory, my parents had just relatively recently split up. So, and my dad's house was a place that I felt like I could watch R-rated scary movies versus my mom's house. Not saying anything other than that, but it was a place where I felt more comfortable doing that. And then I really liked it, and I know that Blockbuster had them all, and I was like, well, I'm gonna rent them all and watch it. And I think Blockbuster had like a limit of like 5 or something, so I had to do it in sections because there was like 7 at the time. I think there's only like 8 now, but 7 at the time. So I went back and I rented the rest of them through, and I love the series. And I remember I actually ended up telling my mom at a lunch date, hey, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street. I was going to say before Christmas. I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, the Freddy Krueger movie, and I really liked it. And she's like, you shouldn't be watching that, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, but it wasn't that bad. They're all so old, and they, you know, typical things that kids say to try to sell their parents on letting them watch things. And I asked her, I was like, what's her, have you seen any scary movies? Like, what are you, like, I was really sucked in by the genre because it was totally new to me at the time. And I was like, what are some other scary movies? Do you watch scary movies? And I think I might have asked my dad, and he's like, that's not my thing. I don't really do that. And so I asked my mom, and she's like, I don't really do that, but I remember when I was a kid, we watched the Halloween movies. I was like, Halloween? She's like, yeah, the guy that attacks the babysitters. And so I looked into it and went to Blockbuster and found Halloween. And then after renting and watching the original Halloween, I fell in love, and I had done research and knew that there was multiple sequels at that point, and I needed more in my life. So I told my dad. I showed my dad. I think my dad and I might have watched it together. And I was like, we need to find more of these sequels and watch them. And so my dad actually went out. I think he had to go to Delaware to the mall or something. And he came back with like 3 different Halloween movies that he had bought from Best Buy, who was still selling movies at the time. Most Best Buys now don't. But he had like 3 different Halloween VHS tapes with him, and like that he had bought to keep. And one of them was the original, but 2 of them were 2 new things I had never seen. And they were Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and Halloween H20. So I didn't know anything about the series or the legacy or the timelines. I just watched them. And the funny thing is, I watched Halloween 4 first because my dad thought because H2O was newer, it probably had more inappropriate things in it, as far as people not being clothed, to put it mildly. And so he gave me 4 first. So here, take that. You do whatever you want with it. I'm going to watch Halloween H2O first to make sure it's okay for you to watch. So the funny thing is, Halloween 4 is way worse than Halloween H2O. Halloween H2O doesn't have any of that non-clothed thing going on, and whereas Halloween 4 had quite a bit. So that's just a little side bit, funny story there. But long story short, just about my love of this series. That birthed a whole new thing for me. Horror is one of my favorite genres. It's probably my second favorite genre. Arguably my first, depending on the month. Like right now, October, I am in love. On top of all the movies that I said I watched this week, I'm also continuing to watch a different horror movie every night because it's something I do the month of October. So, and it's because Halloween. If I had just watched Nightmare on Elm Street, sure, it was good. I like Freddy, but it was Michael Myers. It was Freddy that brought me to the game, but it was Michael Myers that kept me there. So, I mentioned it before, I have a 6-foot mannequin that I bring out during October that is currently in my living room, dressed up as Michael Myers. So it's just an obsession. It's a fandom. It's a nerdy thing that I love. So I understand that not everyone gets that, but thankfully there are a lot of people online that do. And I know I say online like I really sounding nerdy, but I actually know other people that in person that love these movies just as much as I do. And so that brings me to H2O. It was the 7th, as we mentioned, in the series. It kind of ignores the events from 3 through 6 without actually ignoring, because the whole thing with the newer Halloween movies, the 2018 and the new Halloween Kills that's about to come out, or as you guys are watching this, is already out. It also ignored all the sequels except for part 1. So H2O did that first. H2O, because part 3, of course, anthology, standalone, not have anything to do with anything. Parts 4 through 6 took the series a very dark turn and involved a cult and tried to explain why Michael was the way he was. And it was a whole cult thing, and there was like incest, and there was babies, and it got a little dark. But then H2O comes along and says, you know what, we could, and Paul Rudd's very first film, same as Jamie Lee Curtis's first film was Halloween, Paul Rudd's very first film was Halloween 6. So, and he looks exactly the same in that as he does today. So, but H2O comes along and they say, you know what, let's ignore all that curse and cult stuff and let's go back to the basics. That's why I love this movie, because it does go back to the basics. And in Halloween 2, it was revealed that Michael and Laurie, Jamie Lee's character, were brother and sister. So you could watch Halloween, Halloween 2, and Halloween H2O and have it be a perfect trilogy. If you didn't want to watch all 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 movies, if someone, and I do say this when people come to me and says, I want to watch Halloween or a Michael Myers movie, where do I start? I always say start at the beginning. Start at 1. But if you want to get really deep into it, watch them all. But if you just want the basics, 1, 2, 7. Perfect trilogy, tells a perfect story, comes full circle at the end. And it was really the perfect ending of H2O. I think had the perfect ending for the series. Like, it could arguably be said that they shouldn't have made any more after that. But of course, this movie was late 90s, so you had young cast members, Josh Hartnett in one of his first roles, goofy haircut and all. lots of other. I think Michelle Williams, I think is her name, was in this. Lots of faces that you would go on to be big names were in this, and it's just such a fun ride. I don't, as mentioned last week, I don't like the mask in this. At one point, the mask is even CGI, and it's terribly noticeable. But so it's probably one of my least favorite masks, but it's my favorite sequel, so I'm willing to forgive the mask thing. And that's kind of, I think I've talked enough. Everyone kind of knows the love I have for this series and for this movie. I could go more, but I don't want to bore you guys. So Halloween H2O, I'm giving it a 8 out of 10. Anybody?
Dan, Kayla, who wants to go next?
You can go next, Seth.
Okay, I'll go. So, as I said, like last week, I was doing a Michael Myers Halloween binge, and I finally completed it on. It was yesterday. I completed it. I finished 8, which was a chore and a half to get through. But what was not a chore and a half to get through was 7. I really enjoyed H2O. I had seen it before, and coming into it after watching 6, I was ready for a good Halloween movie again, and it did not disappoint. I just feel like if Jamie Lee Curtis is involved in it, it's just automatically going to be better. And I kind of goes with like any movie that she's in. Honestly, like I really enjoy watching her. And H2O just hit every mark that it was supposed to, and it did it well. Which I really can't say the same for any of the other ones. I like them all for different reasons, but H2O is up there for me, probably my top 3. And the only sequel that I really love that does not involve her in it is 4, and yeah, that's really all I have to say about that one. I'd probably rate it 7 out of 10.
4 is really good.
Yeah.
4 is probably the best sequel after this one, in my opinion.
I'm a big fan of 2018, so.
Oh, I dig 2018 as well, but I'm counting like original series. 2018 kind of starts a whole new timeline.
True.
Sorry, we're nerding out. Dan and Kayla, I guess we're gonna end this on a low note. Go ahead, whichever one of you like to go first.
I'll go first. So I'm actually a fan of Halloween 1 and 2. And I'd never really thought, and I don't actually remember watching like any of the others, like 4, 5, 6. So I really don't, I can't speak to that, but it was an interesting thing. I thought that you said, look, just watch 1, 2, and 3, and they'll go together. It flows. It could be a good trilogy.
1, 2, 7.
Or 1, 2, 7, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
H2O. So anyways, when talking about this film, I will say that the first scene started very strong, and it reminded me a lot of like the first and second films. Like he was over here, then he's over there, then he's over here, and he's over there, and it's like, where's it gonna pop up? And like your anticipation starts to build, and you're like, this is about to go south. Lady walks in, guy's got a skate through his skull, like. It's creepy. It has that supernatural tone to it, an element, and I was like, all right, man, starting strong. And for a slasher, like that's really what I like, and that's what I love. And then it hits the middle, and I think that what happened for me anyway, it was very reminiscent of, and you've already talked about it on this episode, like Scream. Like, it took a lot of teenager drama kind of thing that build up in the middle, and I felt like it lost its tone a little bit. And I get that it was her son, and for someone who's, like, very paranoid and very worried about their child, like, and everything that happened with her brother, it was odd to me that she sits there as he's loading on a bus where he doesn't, like he goes away and didn't see the bus off. And she's also the dean of that school or the head person. Like it was just very odd that she wasn't involved in that. And there were a couple things like the mask was very noticeable for me. Like there's one part where it was like hanging off his neck. There's another issue, like I saw, like when the girl gets out of the dumbwaiter, he sniffs the line that she's going up the dumbwaiter. She breaks her leg. She's crawling away, whatever. He gets upstairs. He kills her, but that's not enough. He then takes the time to go hang her in the closet while these other folks are looking around to see what happened. Like, I didn't really understand that because Michael Myers in the back of my mind is not, you know, like I know he does leave his victims behind at times, but it's not really like to stage them. And maybe that might have happened in the middle movies. I don't remember that so much in the first or second. Um, but overall, I'm not going to say it was the most awful horror movie that I've ever seen. Again, I think three was very rough for me, and it really hurt, you know. But I would put this one probably at a 4.5 or a 5.
Wow.
Can I jump in real fast?
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
This is one time I want you to jump in.
So you're saying how he doesn't like to stage up his victims or anything. Do you forget that in the first one, that's like all he did, like once Jamie got to the house?
It's been
I
a
was
long
I
time
was I
since
was
I've
gonna
watched
bring that
that
up.
film.
I was
So
gonna
I'm
bring
not going
that
to
up.
sit here and say that I'm an addict to Halloween movies. It's just from what I remember. And again, it was more for me in those films. What stuck out was more the anticipation of him just popping up all these places where there's a lot more chases here. There's a lot less of that kind of supernatural element of him. Like okay, like going one place to the other. He does chase them. There are several chase scenes. There are moments that he's out of camera where they're not following him so much. But it's just that was just my take on it.
So 4.5 or 5, just so we can get a solid number.
Um, I'll give you the 5 since you were nice enough to give me the 6 or the 7 earlier.
7.
So take that.
I gave Brad Pitt a 7, and you're giving Michael Myers a 5.
Not overall, like I said, but for that particular one, yes. But I would agree with Seth. Like Jamie Lee Curtis was a big part of this, and if it wasn't for her in this film, like it would have been a lower rating for me overall. Like I think that was the best thing that they could have done for that franchise was bring her back for this.
Yeah.
Well, if they didn't butcher the actual Jamie character, the child, then
He doesn't know anything
yes,
about that.
I know. I'm
He
talking.
didn't watch.
I'm nerding out. Okay.
Yeah. No. Okay. So there's something else I was gonna say, but I don't remember. So 5 out of 10. Oh, that's what it was. Sorry. Basically, if you don't like this sequel, you're not gonna like any of the other sequels. Like you should just not watch Halloween anymore because you're like that's just sadly that's just how it is. Like I'm not trying to be like arrogant or like rude about it. That's just kind of if you don't like this one, you're not gonna like the rest.
Well, that is a perfect segue into my rating. So I'm going to probably get a lot of flack here, but I really don't care, honestly, because I had to sit through Halloween 3, which I will just say again, which is like the worst movie I think I've ever seen in my life. So Halloween H20 was the first Halloween film I've ever seen from start to finish. And I'm not really like a slasher type of person. I don't really care for those types of films. So I'll try to just say what I did like at first about this movie. I like Josh Hartnett. I always like seeing young Josh Hartnett in anything because I just like love Josh Hartnett. And the fact that he did The Faculty at the same time where Matt had like texted us and said something about it, I really enjoyed that. So it was nice seeing him in this film. What else did I like about this? The teacher, I don't even know what kind of teacher he was. He was pretty funny. He had that one liner that was really great. The first hour, besides the first scene with the skate in the face, it was really slow. I was not impressed at all if this was the first Halloween film to see, and I watched it and I was like, this is not picking up. It's not doing anything for me. And then they hit at like the 58-minute mark, and he starts chasing after that girl in the little pantry type thing, and then her leg breaks, and I'm like, ugh. That part was crazy. That was really good special effects there. I was actually really impressed with that. It was really grody. It was nasty. Yeah, and then it goes for another half an hour, and then they go back and forth, and it's like this dude gets hit with an axe, this dude gets hit with a knife, this dude falls off a balcony, and then he gets ejected out of a car, and then he gets pinned by a tree with a car, and he's still moving and talking. So, like, the thing for me is I don't understand if it's a supernatural force. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand if it's just some crazy dude that is, like, obsessed with this lady. So for me, that is kind of like what turned me off to this whole thing. It's like to a point where it's like, just die, or, you know, just like kill somebody and just whatever. So yeah, I wasn't really impressed with it. Like Matt said prior to me speaking, if you didn't like this film, you probably won't like any of them. I didn't like Halloween 3, but I can see how that had literally nothing to do with it. It shouldn't have even been called Halloween 3. It should have been never mind, I'm not going to say it. That was dumb. I really just did not like this movie. I did not. I don't know. Like, it just, like, if, like, Scream 1, I loved Scream 1. That's a fantastic film. That's a fantastic slasher film. Compared to what this is, I would say it's way better than that, because you actually see the characters from start to finish develop as, like, literally psychopaths in front of your eyes. And this, for me, you're just seeing this dude who casually walks with a knife, and they're just like, oh my god, and he's just casually walking wherever. He doesn't ever run, he just casually walks. I'm sorry, I could just go on and on and on what I didn't like about this film. I
think the difference is, like, you got two people that are, well, now Seth is kind of like Die Hard. You got somebody who never watched.
I've always been Die Hard.
You got someone who never watched, and then you had someone who casually watched. And it's like Matt said, you know, Halloween has a following. You can look up horror conventions. You can see, like, there's a lot of people that are just diehard into it. And kind of like how Nightmare on Elm Street got you in, but Michael Myers kept you. Like, for us, I think it's a little different. It's different style.
I want to say one more thing, too, just to wrap it up. If maybe I would have watched the first one first, I would have had more appreciation than watching H20 and then Halloween 3. I feel like I should have never watched Halloween 3, because, again, like I've said, but maybe I'll go back and watch Halloween 1, try to, like, a clean slate, because this, I really didn't get a feel for, what's his dude's name? Michael Myers?
Michael Myers.
I didn't get a feel for him. I don't even know. I didn't get a feel for him. I really didn't understand the concept. Like, if Dan didn't fill me in the blanks, like, oh, that's his sister, oh, blah, 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 like a timeline, kind of, I really just, this was really confusing, and it's just like a dude that's just, like, you know, I don't, like, where did he even come from? Like, what? I don't even know. That's the thing, like,
I think you should have probably watched the first one. This is, if you're trying to jump into this series, 7 is not where you want to start.
Yeah.
1 is where you want to start. 2 is where you want to go. 7 is where you want to end up.
Okay.
So,
well,
I respect what you're saying. I feel like you haven't said your number yet. I feel like it's gonna be super low. I don't think, if you watched the first one, I don't think it's gonna suddenly you're going to do a 360 and, oh, that was so great. But I do think it would at least give you more context. And as I've said 100 times on the show, context is everything. Context is king. So I do think that would help you. But I agree with what you're saying. This was not the best choice for someone who's never seen these movies to jump in. So what do you want to
I'm
give
still
it?
deciding because I'm trying to be nice. Honestly, I would probably give it a 4, just to be nice. I would give Halloween 3 a -5
Oh my god!
because it's so bad.
Well, Seth,
I'm so glad that was not your pick.
You just finished this marathon, Matt. I know you said that you actually enjoyed Season of the Witch, so I'm not going to insult you here. Where did you put it on the scale? Like, both of you. Like, where did you find... Because I know this is like a recurring.
Letterbox that we talked about last week, or was it last week? Whenever it was. This is the app, and you can make lists on there, and I have a list where I rank things for occasions like this. So I have a list of where I put each Halloween movie. I have Halloween 3 as my 4th favorite of the whole franchise. I have this Halloween H20 as my 2nd. Of course, the original Halloween is my 1st, and Halloween 2 in between that gap.
And then Seth, where are you on Halloween 3?
Probably my second to last favorite. So however many there is, I don't know. I remember. So I've loved the Halloween series since I was a kid, and I've been trying to do this binge for like I was saying, like 12 years, and I finally completed it now. As a kid, I was confused why Michael Myers was not in 3, but I was like, it was still good for what it was. As a grown man, I say that, sort of, kind of. Yeah, no, Halloween 3 is not good, like, at all. It just, I don't know. And what's funny is, Dan, you mentioned the whole doing it scene. That was probably the best part of it for me, because like it was just so random, like you were saying.
Oh, for Halloween 3.
Yeah. The
Look,
looking for your father. It's a really stressful situation, and some grown man like double her age, and she's like, "Where do you want to sleep?" Like, well, I mean, just it was goofy, but that was probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
to give Halloween H20 credit, one of the only horror movies that I've seen, especially in a slasher, that did not have any kind of hanky-panky. And and honestly, I respect them for that. I know there were some, like, they were building up moments, but it never, like, pulled the trigger on that, and it wanted to focus more on the story. So we'll say that was great. But yeah, Seth, I really like it. Halloween 3. Just, I don't know, man. It's like you're in the middle of a tense situation. It's like, oh, where do you want to sleep? Yeah, crazy.
They didn't even sleep, did they?
No, they did not.
Just shout out to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, aka the guy with the skate in his face that we've mentioned a few times. He was also very early in his career here. And then I forgot to mention as I was going, I just love, my favorite moment in this scene is when Laurie, Jamie Lee, her son has been stabbed, and his girlfriend and him, they're getting in the car, and she drives to the gate, and she gets out to close the gate, and she tells the girlfriend to get in the driver's seat and go. And she requotes a line from the original movie. In the original movie, she says, "Go down to the Mackenzie's house, tell them to call the police, do as I say, go." In Halloween H20, she says, "Go down to where," I don't remember the exact line, but go somewhere, call the police, do as I say, go. And so that was a cool callback. And then so they drive off, they're like, no, don't. And they ultimately end up driving off. And then she closes the gate, locks herself in, and breaks the thing so no one could get into the gate. So she's stuck in there with Michael, and she breaks the glass and takes the axe out, and she just starts stalking him. And she shouts, I'm getting goosebumps saying it. And she shouts, she starts calling for him, Michael. And that's my favorite part of the whole movie, because it's like, because you watch, and again, this goes back to something that we probably, unfortunately, because it's of what it is, we didn't really have time for Kayla to watch more, but it probably was something that you would probably get a better appreciation of. I say you, not just you, but anyone would get better appreciation of, because like through these movies, he's been stalking her and after her. And now finally, 20 years later, she says, I'm not going to be a victim anymore. And she's going after him and putting an end to it once and for all. And that, I'm almost crying, and that gave me goosebumps. So I just love that scene, and I love this movie. So I respect your guys' opinion. I get where Kayla's coming from with no context. And for once, Seth and I are on the same page.
What's funny is I love that scene too. And my mom was watching the movie with me when that scene happened, and she literally said out loud, she's like, "You go, mama." And that was pretty cool for me, because like I think my mom is like the toughest and most awesome chick ever, and I think she was like inspired by that scene a little bit, which was really cool for me. So yeah.
If you know the history of the characters, that's a big scene, because
Yeah, it
Laurie
is.
had
It
always
is.
been the fearful victim. And it's in that moment that she says, not anymore. And
She was so fearful that she wouldn't even talk to the boy that she liked.
right.
All of her friends, it's high school, so they're talking about boys and everything, and then they're like, "Oh, Lori, I didn't realize you thought about things like that," because she was always, the good girl who didn't do anything, and now she has to be the bad action mom who protects her family and fights for herself, which is awesome.
Any last thoughts? Any last words on Halloween H20? So that wraps up this. I guess it'd be shameful of me not to just plug one more time. By the time you guys are watching this, Halloween Kills, the latest installment starring Jamie Lee Curtis, is in the movie theater and on Peacock as you are watching this. As we're recording this, it comes out on Friday. So if you guys are not, if anyone is interested, I highly encourage you, go to the theater, watch that. If you can't make it to the theater or don't feel safe going to the theater, then it will be on Peacock as well, same day. I've got not much else. Obviously, we're going to announce our next pick here. The way of the rotation, it is Seth's turn to pick. Last time he gave us a doozy, but evidently Kayla liked it better than Halloween. So Halloween 3. Seth, it's your turn. Drum roll, please.
Okay, my pick is Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, thank God.
That's just a little joke from Matt and I. No, for real. I'm gonna pick the original, the Amityville Horror movie from 1979, starring my man James Brolin and Margot Kidder. Yeah.
Lois Lane.
Oh, I didn't know that. I have not seen this, and I'm looking forward to watching it. I actually just told Matt before the show started, I was pretty content on my pick leading up to the show, and then I was sitting here and I was like, oh crap, there's another one I actually want to watch too. And so it's kind of bouncing back and forth, but now I feel like Amityville Horror will be the good choice for this week.
Let me ask you, what was your pick going to be?
Well, it was always going to be Amityville Horror, but before the show started, I was like, Misery. I've been really wanting to watch Misery, and I'll probably just watch that on my own time. So
I feel like Misery might have gotten higher ratings from this particular group.
I don't do things for the ratings, okay? That's not how I do things.
But I don't look forward. If they gave Halloween H20 a 4 and 5 out of 10, I don't look for them to give Amityville Horror very high. But I'm with you. I'm there for it. But do you know if it's streaming anywhere? I didn't know what you're.
It is. It's on HBO Max. I made sure of that before I.
Okay. So there it is. Next week, the Amityville Horror, the original, streaming on HBO Max. If you have that, the remake with Ryan Reynolds isn't bad. I really enjoy that.
If I like this one, I'll watch the Ryan Reynolds one. But for right now, I want to watch the original.
Yeah, it's like one of the small handful of remakes that I can say I actually enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan, Kayla, Seth, do we want to announce anything this week, or do we want to just keep teasing this?
I'm out of the loop. I don't know what's going on.
I think on the next episode.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have an announcement, boys and girls. We've kind of teased about it last week, and we're teasing it again this week. But next week, be sure to tune in because we're going to tell you what that announcement is. Some big things happening here at the MDVA Movie Club, and now's your chance. Get in on this action. Slide into the DMs. If you like movies and you like talking about movies, come talk with us. We want you here with us. Be a part of the family. Be a part of the conversation. Let us know. We're gladly accepting new members. And then, of course, let us know what you want to watch. Comment, like, subscribe, all those fun things. We are on Instagram at MDVA Movie Club. And can't do it without everyone in the room. Kayla, Dan, Seth, thank you guys so much for what you do. Everyone, if no other last words, love one another.
See you guys.